Okay, everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we're out here, got some great weather. It's rainy, but a decent temperature, 45-50 degrees maybe. All the snow's melted away, or melting away from everything, so we are taking advantage. So in the theme of things, tractors and farming and DIY all together, I want to be a farmer, so I'm trying to do it right, I guess, by making stuff like a farmer would. Maybe not. I think farmers probably don't always make stuff. But anyway, let's not be distracted. I am assembling scrap materials here to build a Middle Buster Plow, a furrowing Middle Buster, so I can do some heavy duty gardening and some subsoiling and that sort of stuff. So what I've got here is category 1 drawbar and a scrap chunk of some pretty good, probably 1/4 inch wall steel square tube. So I'm kind of just eyeballing what I've got here, and we're gonna see what I can come up with. I need to get about 20 inches of depth probably out of this. Right now that drawbar is at 18 inches from the ground, 18.5 to the bottom maybe. And when that 3-point is all the way down, it's probably 4 to 6 inches above the ground. So we're in the, R&D phases here of this assembly. So I'm fabricating this together out of scrap parts. I've got this guy here, the top 3-point, that's going to fit inside that tube there. Oh geez. Let's do this now. Let's do this. I already got a two-hand operation happening. So, but basically that guy there is going to fit in there once I remove this front portion of the tube. I'm going to window it out there so that can drop into that tubing, and then I will make the 7/8 holes on each side so I can put the through pin in. So that's how the top's going to be. The bottom I haven't figured out yet. I know that I got to get a shank that's going to angle forward at an approximate 45-degree angle. That's probably going to add an extra 6 inches of length there to the bottom of that. And that's what's going to be the basic structure for my plow spade, which I'm going to create out of this leftover sheet that I've got here, the leftover sheet from my bucket build last year. So I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do it yet. I have some scrap there. I got scrap around that I can use. I'm just kind of feeling it out. I'm waiting for it to come to me, Sometimes you got to do that. You just got to start, and then things will kind of come to you as you're going, and that's sort of how I operate. Definitely not a good fabricator. I can put down a pretty decent booger weld, but I think we can get her done, and I think we can get her done in a way that this thing is going to work for us. So yeah, I will probably make some sort of gussets and whatnot in this area, and then weld some stuff on there to stiffen it. The reality is I don't need much, because once I'm using this tool, the forces are going to be applied basically through this part where the 3rd point attaches and the drawbar. The dirt that I'm cutting is going to exert a nice hefty force along the drawbar, which is going to be transferred into the structure and the chassis of the tractor through this hitch, so I shouldn't need much in the way of beef in this area, extra material and build up, although I am going to find something to do in the way of, you know, structural reinforcement there. But my main focus is on getting the spade and shank created and just attaching everything to the drawbar for the moment, and then I'll figure out the rest of the stuff, whether I use flat stock. I've got a piece of flat stock I can probably bend to create a nice sort of something, you know, we'll figure it out. Anyway, that's where we are. Take a look at this nice old tractor. It's sitting in the rain right now, which is the most ideal situation. So, but I'm gonna kind of let it marinate for a second and then see if I can come up with I don't want to break the welder out yet, but I might have to. So anyway, we'll see what it does. Okay, so this is what we've got now for the Middle Buster Plow. 2.5 inch, I think it's receiver tubing, because it just so happened to fit a pretty big drop receiver hitch extra that I had kicking around that I didn't really need, so it's part of the fabric cobbling. It will house and hold my plow spade that I've cut out. I'm going to continue cutting it out because it's not quite the right shape, but basically this is it. I'm going to cut this down a little bit, create a bend or two in it so it can roll the material out of the way, and we should be good. So let's see what happens. All right, well, we're at this point now. Here's the basic plow. It is a little bigger than I anticipated, but we're going to deal with it. It should be fine. I'm going to take a second and hit it with a sledge and kind of start shaping it a little bit, give it some shape, give it a little bit of bend so it cuts and moves dirt the way I want it to. So anyway, probably going to try and, you can see I just stood on that a little bit with my feet, jumped on it really, got those sides to fold down, but I'm going to kind of pound these down so they're, you know, more, I guess, shapely, and then kind of just work my way through it and kind of give it some shape. So anyway, that's what we got. Okay, hard to tell, but this is what I got. This is my prototype Middle Buster. It's about 17.5 inches deep, maybe tall. We'll see how it works. I think it might be a little deeper than it needs to, so I may have to trim off the top. I might have to come back later and cut the top off. That's what I'm getting at. So we're going to do a test here, see how this thing's going to work. Not very heavy. It doesn't go down very fast. But we should be able to get a nice furrow in here. This is my first furrow of my prototype Middle Buster, so I'm going to go low range, 4-wheel drive, first gear, and we'll see what kind of furrow we can create. See how this thing is going to work. I may need to add some weight to it also to get it cut deep enough. Lean back quite a bit, so I might end up doing this here. Let's lift it up just a little bit. I might end up doing this adjustment here to kind of give it some more vertical attitude, so it's maybe a little bit more prone to diving. We're gonna figure it all out basically. So let's back this thing up. We'll try again. This video is gonna be terrible here, but because I'm winging it, totally winging it. Oh, there's a rock. Turned up a little bit of a rock there. So we'll see. I'm an easy 6 inches deep with that. So, and if I add some weight to this somehow back here, I figure that out. There might be an advantage to that. Hard to say. Not too bad. It's doing what it's supposed to on, in a small degree. So I'll go ahead and do that again. There. I'll get this thing all the way backed out. Pretty straight up and down now. And I know I'm coming off to the side, so that's not going to be real helpful. But we'll try and get her lined out there. Oh yeah, it grabbed there and wanted to go down. Yeah, I got a good 6 to 8 inch cut there. All right, well, there's 2.5 furrows I cut, probably about 12 inches deep. So that could be handy for all sorts of stuff. Mainly we're trying to do some garden related plowing. So, but that's what I got. This was the first cut over here. That's 2 or 3 passes, probably 2 passes and like a half a pass, because that tractor is kind of a small guy, and the way the PTO works, it doesn't put down force on it, so it's reliant on the weight of the implement and the angle of the implement as it engages the ground. It's designed to sort of, we're going to call it submarine. It's going to go down as it's got a load on it, so you're kind of relying on that and the weight to get a deeper cut. So sometimes it's going to take a few more passes. But this pass is one that I did right next to the first one, where I dropped my right tires in that one and cut the next one in, and it seems to have cut pretty darn good, pretty deep. So this soil is looking good over here. I'm thinking we're going to extend this garden out to this area, open the whole thing up. So, and then I was just doing a little drag here for fun to see what it's doing at 2 to 4 inches or so. No real reason. So, but we'll look at this thing back here, see what it is. Dirt's a little bit tacky right now, but so receiver hitch tubing, 2.5 inch and 2 inch, so it's sleeved, and then that bottom piece is an actual drop hitch that I stuffed in there and cut the ball part off, and then that was my that thing helped establish that cutting angle that I wanted. And that's pretty much it. Of course, you got your turnbuckle adjustment here to help correct the angle, you know, here and there if you want. I got some button-up work to do in just tidying stuff up, really. Clean up work, button up. This is just the prototype, so anyway, works well. We'll be happy using this.